everything will vary. As I have introduced in the previous first introductory lecture, based on the purpose, because you cannot have the purpose which will shoot to the basic research, but you cannot conduct a deductive research. Deductive research. So that's the reason you need to know the type of a research. Accordingly, you will be able to fine tune your objectives and the methodologies and the entire design. So I am not going to give a very elaborate discussion, just in a very crisp and clear, what you call, crystal clear way. Let me introduce you. The basic research generally, it will test the knowledge, theory, and predictions. It will test it. That's just what you call, when you ask some basic question, the student will answer your question. So when you ask questions in the classroom, assume that you are all teachers. Not assuming, you are all teachers already. When you ask questions, if you use the Bloom's taxonomy, there are different varieties of level, from the lower level to the higher order thinking. In the lower order thinking, we'll simply check the remembrance and the memory. So there it can be a knowledge question. For instance, you ask a question, who is the President of India? It simply tests the knowledge of the student, whether he knows it or not. Similarly, if you look at the other aspect, so the sixth level. I don't want to spend time on Bloom's taxonomy. So that the layer, from 1 level, 2 level, 3 level, 4 level, and higher order thing, go to this level 6, self-actualization. So in that way, the basic research will deal the fundamental issues. That's what it based on, the basic knowledge, theory, and basic predictions. There won't be any much elaborate research will happen. It's a very, very fundamental, basic thing that is called basic research. And if you look at the second one, there are examples for the basic research I have given so that you will understand clearly. Look at a study assessing whether men or women are more likely to be diagnosed with depression. Today is supposed to be, I think, one of the important day for the mental health day, I guess. Today morning when I was riding car, I was listening to the FM, whether men can cry. There is a kind of a discussion in the FM radio. Is it okay men to cry? But normally our culture says that, especially when a boy cries in the house, a girl cries in the house. When girl cries, we don't say anything. But when a boy cries, hey, how can you cry? You are a boy. You must be brave. You should not cry. But you may not know what kind of mental depression or the kind of problem they undergo. Crying, laughing, these are certain emotions. If it is not utilized if it is not revealed properly, that may lead to the depression. So is it okay to, even boys are okay to cry? You think this is what the very much needed about the mental health. But when you say that to boy, you are not supposed to cry. When he feels sad, when he's about to cry, he will suppress that emotion. Whatever the suppressed emotion becomes the repressed things in the mind, at the later part of life, it becomes a psychological issue. Okay, now you are going to study about those things. It's a basic kind of assessing their level, mental health. Such kind of things are called what you call a basic research. But the reason is, why do we have that kind of thing? Probably you can understand why boys are not allowed to cry in a public place. See, you get into the place anywhere. A girl is crying. You don't feel bad really. Okay, ma, don't cry. Something will say. Boy is crying. It becomes kind of a shock, cultural shock. How can a boy can cry? You are supposed to be brave enough. You should never cry. You have to be brave enough. This is the very wrong kind of projection. You should allow them naturally to expose their original emotion. But if you do not allow them to do that thing, in the name of culture, if you suppress it, it creates a problem. So a basic research can study about how many students are, they are okay to cry, how many of them are not okay to cry. See, you can identify these things. It's a simple study. This can be a basic one. See, the rest of the exams I've given. Here, the goal is simply to get a knowledge how people are taking the cry as a kind of emotional tool or as a kind of a suppressive tool. Why it is different to a male and female? Why there are gender bias, gender differences in the particular expression of emotion? That study is the perfect example for the basic study, because here just you want to have an idea, knowledge about this particular the expression of emotion. If you look at the next one, it comes applied research. Here, compared to the basic research, now applied research, it has certain advantage. For instance, you take the same example, whether boy is allowed to cry or not. So, in general, in Indian culture, boys are not allowed to cry in a public place. Probably they may cry in their room, even in front of some parents. They may allow somebody who is mature enough. They may handle. They'll allow them to cry. Or otherwise, no, no, it is a shame. The boy should not cry. Especially, we label them when a boy cries. Why you are crying like a girl? We don't label with anything else. We label them. Why you are crying like a woman, or why you are crying like a girl? So, is there any kind of a fixed rule that women are only allowed to created to cry, or only girls are allowed to cry? Why? This is a kind of a social setup, kind of cultural setup. It has imbibed, and we try to transport the same information to our kids also. Now you want to break that. You want to break that. Now you say that boys are allowed to cry. Now it is completely all right to allow the boys to cry. You want to allow this. For example, you take five families. One family, assume that out of five family, three families are allowing their boys to cry. Two families, as usual, they normally they go. So now you want to know: are there any psychological improvement, psychological differences among them? Here, you are using a different techniques. That is allowing the boy to cry without what you call removing the cultural barrier, cultural shock, another thing. So the basic purpose of the applied research is when there is a problem, to solve the problem, you will apply a technique or a procedure or a product, and then you'll study the effect. What is the effect of the technique, procedure, and product? That is what applied research. And if you look at the very simple thing, we teach, you teach commerce, and there are different techniques to teach commerce. Say, when you open accounts, you are accounts teacher, you teach accounts. Immediately, people may get get offended. What they call, they take a back sheet. No, no, it's boring. They may not be really happy about it. But when the same time you talk about commerce, compare it, because you will have more theory, more story to tell. Whereas in accounts, you can't tell more story directly. You have to play with the numbers. So that time you introduce a new technique to teach what you call accounts. That's mathematics. Then you may study the impact. That is the one applied research. And you use one particular application, mobile app. Then you learn about it. Then just think how they are using. Just observe it. Then finally report it. That will come in the category of applied research. So very simple. Applied research will try to apply something on the existing problem with the objective of finding the solution. And let me give one more example also. Yeah, I think I have already given. And let us move to the exploratory research. Exploration, and if you decode the word exploration, explore something which is something new. When will you explore? The moment, assume that you are going to a tour. That is tour. It's the right pronunciation of the word is tour, not tour. You're going on a vacation, a tour for a tourist place, and you have never ever visited that place. First time you're going there, and there are two way. One common thing, you know, that they'll have some normal. If it is the hill station, there will be some 6 to 7 points, tourist spot points. You will go there and visit. That's one way. Another one, in the deep jungle, you go trekking, you explore the new avenues, new species, new animals, something kind of that. So there, only very rare people will get into the deep jungle. Normal people, they'll go, it's kind of surface level, they'll go, there is a specific point, they'll go and they'll visit and come back. But exploration means you will get into something new area. It will be kind of adventurous kind of thing in the forest. Similar thing applicable to research also. Basic research will go with the basic problem. Exploratory research, you will select something new, entirely new, under researched problem. Most of them avoid. Or there is a very little research on that particular field. You want to get into, dive into that thing. You want to explore, and that type of research is called exploratory research. In general, exploratory research is done in the under-researched area, not in the over-researched area. This is what exploratory. And if you go to the next one, explanatory research. Please kindly make a note. Exploration, explanation, both are different. Many people, they think that exploration, explanation are same. Exploratory research will explore something new. Explanatory research means you just simply explain the causes and consequences of something. Come back again. Why do boys resist to cry in the public place? You want to explain. As I already told you, one reason is a culture, another reason family setup. Probably, if you do further some kind of research, basic research, then you'll be able to explain. You may list down top 10 reasons why boys are not allowed to cry in the public place beyond culture and family. Are there any other reasons? This, so here what you say that in the public, for instance, in the classroom, we see, assume that you scold one of the students, preferably a girl student. Immediately she starts to cry. Then you will try to console her. Then don't cry. It's okay. I'll take care here afterwards. Don't do this thing. Otherwise, you come and meet my cabin. You will give some explanation. But the same class, you scold some boy. He started crying loudly, like a. See, that's what again comparison. Look at the comparison, like a gale. Immediately, the whole class will be surprised. Even you will be surprised. Even I used to the comment like, why he's crying like a gale? Because we already ingrained that the loud cry is only associated with the gale, and it is never ever seen by anybody else. Here you can reason out the reason, the causes and consequences. What will think? Everybody will look at him. They'll ask him, what is wrong with you, and all those things will come in. So you take some kind of such a kind of a problem, and you try to give the explanation, through the explanatory research, the causes and consequences of his behavior, what made him to do that thing, and what are the reasons. You list out everything. Such kind of thing will fit into the explanatory research. If you come to the science, why do people let us move from the humanities. Let me give one scientific example. Why do dogs bark? It's a common question. Fine. Why does dog bark at only some people? There may be a reason. Causes and consequences. What is the reason? You can study it. Because that it is a kind of there may be some reason behind it. That you have to use certain psychology, certain kind of methodology, animal behavior. Then you'll be able to identify why does a dog barks at only particular people, not with everybody else. So such kind of thing, you will be able to understand the cause. There may be a cause. For instance, I come to your house, assume that, and you have a dog. Normally, majority of the dog, as I'm a stranger, it will start to bark. But some dog, it is not barking, just it is what you call it, behaves like as if I am known person to the dog. The reason may be I may be like somebody else in your family. Or dog may feel that I am such a kind of a person. Or the dog may feel that I am friendly to the dog. So then the behavior will change. This is my layman understanding. But scientifically, when you study, you will be able to give the proper explanation why does the dog behave in that way. So such kind of things comes into the explanatory. I use only basic examples. because my basic purpose is to make you to understand the types. So I don't use very what you call superficial example which we don't understand. That's why I'm using very, very fundamental examples. Next comes inductive research. See, inductive research is in a very simple way. You develop a theory. Inductive research, you develop a theory. That means after doing this dog research, you say that these three things. Whenever a dog sees a person with a bird, my dog, for example, in a particular place dog, it start to bark. My dog, whenever somebody makes a different noise, it start to bark. Then you will create a theory. Dogs will become sensitive when it hears the new loud, new sound. Dog becomes sensitive when it looks the new face, some kind of thing. Then you finally say that this is a particular. These are the symptoms. The dog works in that way, so you have to be very careful. Finally, your finding will be that this is the theory that okay, the dog behaves in this pattern or that pattern. Then you will create a theory. Then further researchers also can understand based on that one. Even in today, we have certain existing theories, and we understand the society based on that theory also. How you behave, how you are oriented to the spiritual world, how you are oriented to the scientific what you call principles. It may decide your personality. If you study the personality traits, there, if you apply certain personality traits in the research, you can come to a theory. See, for instance, let me give you one example. Two things. One is introvert and extrovert. All of you know that. Introvert person, there are certain qualities. Extrovert person, certain qualities. That qualities, that is what a theoretical stand. Introvert person will never speak to the other people. He will be very good at working the what you call desk job. He will be very good at in the analytical thinking. Whereas extrovert person will be very good at in handling the people management. And he will be very good at in the what you call handling the emotion. So this is the stand. So somebody has done the research already. No, they devised a theory, devised a pattern or characteristics. We fit into that thing, we take that, we apply and we study that. So the purpose of inductive research, you can design your own theory. That's what D means, develop the theory. You will be able to develop the theory. And if you look at the deductive research, it will not develop the theory. Instead, it tests the theory. See, I am telling you that introvert personalities are very good at for the desk jobs. You identify 20 introvert students. We identify 20 extrovert students. You give a task which will test whether they are good at a desk job or a human resource job. Then you may test the theory which says introvert and extrovert in case whether your research finding goes with the already available characteristics of introvert and extrovert, or you want to propose something new. So basically, you will test the theory, then you will give the inference, then you will say either the theory is correct or theory is wrong. In case the theory is wrong, what is your saying there? Then you may propose something. No, not all introverts are fit for the desk jobs. There are some introvert, they are very fit for HR jobs also. For instance, I'm telling you can come, but you need to have a proper proof and evidences to prove your claim. That is what it is called, difference between deductive and inductive research. Okay, before I move further, is all six types of research clear to you? Any questions up to this point? Any questions? But just in case any clarification, I'll clarify, then I'll move to the next one quickly. Okay, if there are no questions, shall I move to the next? Can someone respond to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now let us come to the. We have seen the six basic types. Now, based on the approach, we have qualitative and quantitative and mixed method approach. Already I introduced to these things in yesterday's lecture. Now I'll give a bit elaborate. I'll elaborate on this particular two things. Okay. So, main difference between quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative deals with numbers. Qualitative deals with the exact what we call lived experiences. One is number, another one is in-depth analysis of the people, instances, incidences, experiences. That basic difference. These are the exact further things. Probably you can first thing look at there. Quantitative research, we focus on testing theories and hypotheses, whereas in qualitative research we explore ideas to formulate theory and hypothesis. So here it is, one is inductive, another one is deductive. Inductive, you may test the theory. Deductive, you may test the theory. Inductive, you will develop the theory. So then you will understand now which comes in inductive research, which comes in the deductive research. Next thing, if you look at there, it uses the statistical analysis. But in qualitative research, statistical analysis are not used widely. Instead, it is used to summarize, categorize, and interpretation. It is researchers' in-depth interpretation. And we use a lot of graphs, numbers, tables, but here you never see that. It is only in the written document. And here you need a lot of what you call respondent. Here means samples. In quantitative research, you require more sample, whereas in qualitative research, you require only less sample. Reason, you will require 400 students to test a certain behavior, but here you will take only 4 students or a 10 student. You will do the in-depth study, then finally you will tell about the behavior of the particular student. So the respondents require more in quantitative, less in qualitative. In quantitative research, we use only closed questions. Since, for instance, you will have a Likert scale, you will have MCQ, fill in the blank, some kind of thing. They'll answer it within all the test questionnaires. Will have such kind of closed questions because we don't have time to analyze everything. But if you look at the qualitative research, it will have open-ended question. Why do you behave like this in the classroom? The student will write an essay or a paragraph. You will go read word by word. You analyze, you infer, you write your interpretation. You will take only 4 students and 4 or 5 or 10. You will go in-depth analysis. Whereas in quantitative research, you never analyze, simply take the number. Based on the number, you will come to infer certain idea. Finally, you say that this many percentage of students are like this many percent are like that. In that way, you will come to certain, probably you will give certain inferential findings. In qualitative research also, you will do inferential findings only, but this is based on in-depth analysis, here based on number. And the last one, look at there, it is mainly concentrates on testing, measurement, objectivity, and replicability. Whereas here it goes on, it is not measuring, instead, it tries to understanding the basic thing, the context, understanding the complexity, get a more idea about the subjectivity, why certain people behave in that way, subjective experience. They'll record it, they'll try to give to the people. So these are the fundamental differences between quantitative research and qualitative research approach. Now come to the data collection method. See, after fixing the approach, either quantitative or qualitative, now you need to decide which type of data collection method you need to use. I have given here only widely used 4 or 5 tools only for each method. In quantitative data collection, obviously, first one comes survey. Survey, you will conduct survey, then you will have closed multiple choice questions, then you will sample and you will distribute the sample. It can be online or offline. So first research tool, data collection method is survey. Second thing, you will conduct an experiment. You will have control group and experimental group, and you will try to study the differences. based on, you will take the variable. That's what, you will manipulate, try to understand the cause and causal relationship between the two variables. Then observation, you will observe in the natural environment where variables cannot be controlled. The in-depth analysis you will not do. A basic level observation you will do in quantitative study. In-depth analysis will come in the qualitative research. So just basically it's a survey and questionnaires. And qualitative data collection, it is three things, four things. One is interview. You ask open-ended questions verbally, you interact with them, you note down all their responses. Detailed interview. Next, focus group. You will discuss with a specific group, and again, you will note down the things, and no, they'll give so many inputs. You will try to note down, you try to explore, you'll try to bring out some inferences based on that. Then ethnography, and if you remember, I was telling you yesterday also, I introduced ethnography means participating. You go to the particular community, live with them, be there, observe what they are doing each and every day, and inch by inch, you take a note of it with their permission. See, assume that you want to know about the agriculture, farmers' lifestyle. Then you'll go to a particular village or just go to the farmer family and you will live with them. You see how they are doing the works in the morning and everything you'll be there. Just you will keep noting down, collecting the data. That is called ethnography. Go to the people, ethnic, exactly to the particular place, and you try to observe everything in detail. There, you don't use any measurement tools. Simply, your only researcher observation. Observation is a key tool, but you will have a clear idea what kind of thing you need to write it down. You will mention everything in detail. Then literature review. Literature review is it is common to both quantitative and qualitative data collection. You will study the earlier literature. You will understand because we'll have the next day. I think tomorrow, not tomorrow. Monday we will have literature review section of the class. How to conduct literature review. Another thing I'll be telling. So then I'll explain detail. That is also next important data collection method. Why? Because when you read the literature, you'll come to know how it has happened in the previous people, how the previous researchers, how they have done all those things would have come. Correct? And next thing comes when to use qualitative and when to use quantitative. Okay, I have given clear guideline in the my slide. What I want is I want to make it interactive. So after see, very simple. Use quantitative research. You want to confirm or test something. You want to understand in depth analysis. Go to the qualitative. And developing theory is what you call inductive reasoning aims at developing a theory, and another one is testing the existing theory. That is deductive, inductive and deductive. Now, all of you take a paper, or if you are already doing a work, you tell me what type of research method you are using, whether it is qualitative or quantitative, and whether it exactly matches with whether you are trying to test something or you are trying to understand something or trying to develop a theory or testing an existing theory. You have to write a research topic. You have to fit all these three components. You have to tell me where it comes. So I'll give you 5 minutes time. Or if you take a paper and write it down, then randomly let me pick somebody so that I can interact with them. Just okay. Is my instructions clear? Yeah. If you are already a
Yes,
researcher,
sir.
you can take your own research topic. You just tell me where do you fit this thing. Yeah. Just you can take 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll come back. I'll randomly pick because I have the names here like Deepa, Upadhyay, Sarvari, Dr. Nikam, Sapman, Priya. So I'll randomly pick somebody. You can share your thing. Yeah. Yes. Can someone tell me, based on your topic and where do you fit the exact methodology? Any volunteers? Yeah, you can tell your name, then you can speak.
Sir, I am Dr. Sapna,
Yes,
and
please.
my research was on study of performance appraisal methods in iron and steel
Okay.
industries. And I think it's a basic research, and the type of research is basic research, and it's a quantitative one, sir.
Very good. And did you apply any theory or what was your?
For analysis, I have used chi-square analysis
Okay,
for
that's
testing of the
statistical.
hypothesis.
Okay, testing hypothesis. Good. And what type of data collection methods you have employed?
I have just used the questionnaires,
Ah,
and wherein I use Likert scale.
okay, okay. It's a closed. It's not an open-ended question. It's a closed question.
Closed end, right, right.
Very good. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes,
Sir, my
Magesh. Magesh.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
Magesh. Yeah,
Sir, I am a research scholar, and just I
yeah.
have taken the admission for PhD.
Very
My
good.
research topic is basically based on the analysis of various schemes implemented by the government of India for
Hmm.
the economic growth of small and marginal farmers.
Very good.
And basically, my research is the
Very good.
cross sectional because of
Okay.
I will take the data for the different types of time frame.
Very good. Very good.
Uh-huh. So my research will be
Okay.
the cross sectional and qualitative.
Qualitative. Okay. And so you are going
Well,
to, how are you going to take the sample? What are your data collection method?
so data collection method is based on purely secondary and primary. Primary data will be collected from the farmers,
Hmm.
and secondary data will be collected from the government of India's websites and their officials.
Very good. Fine. That's what we do, a literature review. Then you do with the focus group discussion or in-depth interview. Then it will come into the qualitative. Good. Very fine.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else you want to add some more thing? Then we will do the next one. Okay. Thank you. So let me go to the next one because we
Hello, sir.
got anybody. Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. Tell your name.
Sir, my name is Amit Titre, and I'm doing research in literature, and the title is Cultural Ambivalence in the Fictional Overhaul of Z. Smith. So
Hmm.
basically, while taking what I want to ask you that what are the types of writing literature review, and
Hmm.
which aspect should we consist or
Hmm.
include while writing literature review?
Yeah. So I'll be giving a lecture about how to write a literature review next session. That is Monday. I'll give a detailed thing, but in general, when you conduct a literature review, you have to identify what are the aspects they have worked based on your particular domain. Then you need to identify the research gap. All those things I'll explain you in the next lecture because that's a big topic. So I cannot cover within this, and I'll talk about in the next class, next lecture.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now let me go back to my slide. Okay. So there is a one more thing. It is there. There is no hard and fast rule that you should use only qualitative or quantitative. As the examples the people know, someone has said, you can use both qualitative and quantitative in the same research. That is called mixed method. It is not necessary that you should use only quantitative, only qualitative. See, probably 2, 3 sections of your research, probably 2, 3 chapters, it may deal with the quantitative work. Rest of the 2 chapters may deal with the qualitative work. Let me tell you an example. See, I worked on vocabulary studies. I worked because I basically from English. So in ELT, I studied vocabulary, how students learn vocabulary, how their vocabulary stock, how it is their stock, how they are improving. So one thing, mine is a mixed method study. I identified the student level of vocabulary stock by giving the questionnaire, available questionnaire already. It's internationally tested questionnaire by Paul Nation. After that, I introduced my own method. I introduced certain TBLT based. I have given introduced certain new technique. It's a kind of applied research. I gave to them those techniques. I taught the classes. Then I studied the differences, and then I what you call inferred certain outcome. So here in this outcome, certain thing I did a in-depth interview with the students. That's called opinion analysis. I went there. I picked some out of 100 samples. I picked a 10 sample, and I conducted an in-depth interview to study their what you call observation experiences. So mine was a mixture of both quantitative and qualitative. So you are allowed to use both. No need to worry. Even in the literary research also, you can bring in quantitative. Even in the what you call in-depth study, you can bring some quantitative element. It depends upon you have to decide based on the research objective, and based on the objective, you will fix a design. So these things already we have since we have taken, and I'll skip these things. Yeah. Next, quickly, in the analysis of the data analysis will use, these are the common thing. Obviously, in the quantitative research approach, you'll use the statistical analysis, where you'll use different software, SPSS, RStudio, or even with the simple Excel also you can do generally mean, median. Then you'll have a maximum, minimum, correlation, reliability, and validity. All these things you'll study. Reliability, and validity is for based on the results and the tools which you are using, which you are going to use for your research. That is for the analyzing quantitative data. The qualitative data, it's a content analysis. That's what tracking the occurrence, position, and meaning of the words and phrases. That when you are analyzing the data from a farmer, different schemes, you will go and talk to them. You will understand whether they are aware about the government schemes or not. In case if they are not aware, you will ask the question. They'll tell them they never know about the new schemes, or they never read newspaper, or they never have any awareness session about the new policies of the government. Something they'll give. So you will take all their content, input as a content, then you will analyze, then you will you will give a kind of finding, inferences. Thematic analysis is absolutely suitable to the English literature students. Say they take novel, drama, poem, another genre, they'll analyze it. They do only thematic and the analysis using certain theory. They'll read between lines. They'll try to give, as I have told you, one of the objectives of the main research is to give the new perception, new idea. So the literary scholar, they always take a text, they analyze, they'll try to give a new perspective. That's a thematic analysis. Then discourse analysis, you will take communicative tools like a text or an oral speech, something like that. Then you will try to bring some kind of you will try to learn, study about the language parameter, some other parameter, the mood, and some basic the non-verbal cues. And then you will give some analysis that come in the discourse analysis. These are the analyzing the qualitative data. And next comes based on the approach. Now you understood difference between quantitative and qualitative, the basic types, then quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method. Now you identified. Now it's a time for you to design your plan for research. That's what it is called, research design. What is the research design? See, it's a blueprint for collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. Kindly follow my highlighted words. It's a blueprint for collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. The planned sequence of the entire process involved in conducting the research study. See, now, as one of the researchers was telling me that studying the government schemes about the awareness about the government schemes among the farmers. So here he has to have a blueprint. As I already asked him, he will collect the data from government office record, already published papers, and the books and other thing. Then he'll go to the research farmers. There he has to mention which district, which mandal, or probably which state, how many farmers he has to select. What's the plan? Why he has selected only that particular mandal, or we call it a district, or a village farmer. Why didn't you select the other farmer? You need to tell the clear thing about inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. So that's what blueprint. That's a complete idea for the collection. In the blueprint, even you should have how many samples you are going to use, whether 100, 500, or a 5 or a 10. Something should be clearly given. Then what is this? What are the steps involved? What the first thing, he will read the papers first to do the primary analysis. Then later he'll go to the villages, meet the farmer, take the interview, write the data, then come back, analyze it and infer it. Then he'll try to apply the theory or identify some new other things. Then you talk to the expert. Then finally you try to write something out of it. This is the planned sequence. So here you need to plan where you need to start, which route you need to travel, navigate. Finally, where do you need to land? That land will be the kind of like, the answer for your research objectives. That's what it's. So the bulb should glow. That will be the ultimate objective of the research. That has to happen. If you properly design, if you plan your research design, it will happen easily. And the basic function or the major functions of a research design is to conceptualize the operational plan. Very simple. What theory, what method, what analysis, what kind of tools, help, everything put together, you have to add it. That's what, because it should undertake the various procedures and tasks required to complete your study. And it has to ensure that these procedures are adequate to obtain, very important word, valid, objective, and accurate answers to the research question. Here are research objectives. So it should support your objectives. The research design will not let you to get the answer for your research question, or it will not try to allow you to get the objectives answered. Then the research design is wrong. If you put a wrong research design, you will not get the result. So how do you plan a research design? These are the based the type of data you need, the location and time scale of the research, where you are conducting, how long you are going to conduct, the participants and the sources of the research, the variables and hypotheses, how many variables you are going to use, how many independent or dependent, and hypotheses, and you have to have a clear idea. If you have these things, only you will be able to develop a research design. And methods of collecting and analyzing the data. This is the 5 signpost or guideline questions to you. If your research design answer all these questions, your research design is correct. In case some of the questions, some of the components are components are unable to be answered, then your research design is not correct. Yeah, features of a good research design is it minimizes error and bias. What error? You design a study, the study requires 200 sample, but you have taken only 100 sample. Then obviously the error will be there, bias will be there, the result cannot be accurate. That's what it minimizes error and bias, maximizes the reliability and the data analyzed. That's what the good research design always lead a good outcome. And appropriate, efficient, and economical design and method you will use. And obviously, whatever the data, whatever the finding you say, it is scientifically proven. It will have all valid support to claim that your argument is correct. These are the 4 features of a good research design. And again, another thing based on the previous slide, you can take these are the another 6 questions. You can make a note of it, and to your research design should ask it's the same thing. No, the 2 slides back I used this thing. The other version, that is what there's a planning, and finally again now you have developed. Now again you ask question: who will constitute the study population? How will the study population be identified? If a sample is selected, how will it be contacted? How will consent? How will you get their agreement, acceptance? And what method of data collection will be used? And why did you select that particular data collection method? In case of interviews, where will you conduct? How will you conduct? What is the time frame? Everything. If your question, all these questions are answered, your research design is correct. These are based on the different studies The research design will vary: descriptive study, experimental study, longitudinal study, case study, action research study, casual design, cohort, historical, philosophical, and sequential. So it depends upon, based on the study, you will be choosing any one of the study, any one of the design pattern. Got it? So here, if you follow the signpost for given research design, then you know the based type of research, you know the objectives, you know the research question, then you will be able to plan your research design quite easily. I'll explain with only one example, because I don't have time to explain everything. One example I'll explain, then after that we'll stop for the question. And these things I'll skip, and let me go to the action research. In case if it is action research design, you want to create a design for action research. What will be the first thing? Action research approach normally used in the education institution, where you will try to use some new you will take the problem, you'll try to bring a solution to the problem. The action research, that's what we'll try to do that thing. For that, what you need, look at the first one thing, understanding the practical problem. That's what teaching. Even I gave the example of using social media to teach language, to teach vocabulary. Understanding a practical problem, your students do not have sufficient vocabulary, so that your problem is understood. Now, intervention, you are taking an action, you are introducing the Facebook as a tool. Then observe. After introducing the Facebook, you observe whether there is improvement, or is there any problem they face. After certain course correction, further you implement the entire the model to the entire class. You do this with a pilot study. Maybe you select some 5 students, you do this pilot test. Then you do some corrections based on the experience or observation. Then implement as a solution to the whole people. If it is successful, you can give it to the entire world. That's what out of the action research. So in this research design, you need to know whether the problem is understood, whether the intervention is planned, that's what is the action, whether observation, how are you going to observe, and what are the tools you are going to use to the observe. Finally, how are you going to implement the solution? Then after that, one more cycle is also there. How are you going to study the impact of the solution? This is how the action research design works. This is the cycle again. Propose a change, engage in action, observe the results, then reflect in action. You are proposing a new change. Then you have to engage in that action. You have to observe the results. Then you have to reflect the outcome of the action. This is how the action research works. These studies generally tell the pragmatic, solution-driven research outcome, and it has a direct and obvious relevance to the practical problem. It has continuous evaluation, and it helps us to modify. There are a lot of opportunities for a theory to emerge, because we are applying the new action. We are taking new action to the existing problem. So we'll be able to develop a new theory or a method, a technique also. This will be the outcome of the action research. Similarly, based on your type, you have to understand, you have to go through the thing. So let me stop here. And if you have a question, you can ask. So other thing, just let me run through the slides. Probably, experimental means you will have experimental group and control group. This is the flow: experimental group, control group, and you will have a pre-test. Then there will be intervention, then post-test. This is the flow of research. Here I have given an example, but I don't want to explain further detail. If it is a case study, just let me show you only the flow. This is the thing. You will select a case, build a theoretical framework, collect the data, then finally you will describe and analyze the case. Generally, case study approach in the MBA, business school, they use a lot of things. Even when they teach, they use a lot of case studies to make the student understand. This is the flow of case study. These are the things. Conceptual framework. I don't think it is. It comes in the research design itself, so I don't need to worry about it. So when you plan your research design, obviously what concept you are going to use, how you are going to select the sample, testing, everything will come into that thing. No need to have a separate thing. But you need to add a conceptual framework in the research thesis. Probably you will discuss in one of the chapters. You'll start with the concepts of framework, then we'll go in detail way. Okay, with this, I stop with today. We have learned about the types of research, the research design, the major parts, and we have seen certain examples, how it works, how it operates, finally how it, we'll get the outcome of the research also we have seen clearly. Now, this is the time for interaction. If you have a question, you can ask me. Let me stop here. First thing, if you have understood the entire thing what I've done, please put a thumbs up in the, maybe put a hands up, so that I'll understand that I delivered the things clearly. There is option in the Google Meet. You can put a thumbs up over there. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. Now this is the time for the questions. Okay. Now you can go on shoot me with your questions. Yeah, even you can type the question in the chat box. I'll be able to read. Even you can unmute and you can talk. Anything is fine. Either is fine for me.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm
Yeah.
Bharti Deshmukh.
Yes, Bharat. Yeah.
Sir, can you? It's a kind request to you that can you take one of the session, like how to frame the research topic, about how to frame the research topic.
100%.
Because
I'll do.
once the research topic clear
I'll
to
do.
all the researchers, then only he or she collect the proper data. So that's
Yeah,
why
see-
it is a kind request for you to take.
100%. Your question will be answered in the next lecture when I talk about literature review. There you will get a clarity about how to select your research topic. Once I complete the literature review section, how to conduct literature review, that day I'll talk about how to select the topic and everything. You will get a clarity. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Myself Sakshi.
Yes, Akshay.
So my question is, how do we identify variables in our topic, in our research topic? What are the variables?
See, in general, variables are divided into two. One is independent variable, another one is dependent variable. Independent variable will have one certain function. The cause of the, let me give an example. See, I have a mobile phone. This is, the brand is OnePlus. The usage of the OnePlus mobile among the students. So here you may use, it has its brand value or it has certain features. Here, the usage of mobile, you consider as one kind of a variable. How it is being decided? The usage of mobile is decided based on its brand value, or based on its price, or based on its design. So here, whether usage of mobile affects the brand value or affects the design, or the design affects the usage of the mobile. So if you take normally the people, those who are having OnePlus mobile, will have the option that it is one of the branded mobiles. So it will be relatively costlier than the normal mobile. So here, dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent variable is the mobile phone usage. Independent variable is the brand name, cost, usage of the other features. So whenever you have more features, the customer may buy more. So in general, let me tell you. So this is, see, dependent variable always it depends upon the independent variable. Independent variable, it will not depend. See, that's what usage of the mobile phone is here, it is independent. Dependent is what the features of the other things. So I'll give one explanation exactly. In one day I'll be giving with further examples also, you will understand. So in a very layman term, dependent variable, it will function independently. Dependent variable will not function independently. Independent variable only function independently. But how it goes, one will affect the other one. One will affect the other one. So here you are asking question, how can I select the variable? It depends upon your research topic, research objectives. What are the things you are going to do? Let me tell you one more example. Vocabulary learning and how students are learning vocabulary. It's a research topic. I take one, this is the one point, assume that it's a variable. Learning vocabulary is one variable. And the parents' education, what are the factors affect the learning vocabulary? Parents' education, students' medium of study, gender. Let us take three things: gender, medium of study, parents' education. Here, first basic question: the students' vocabulary will be influenced based on the gender, based on their parents' education, based on the what you call medium of study. Here, which affects whether vocabulary affects the medium of the study, or medium of the study affects the vocabulary? Can you answer me? Which one affects the other? You are learning vocabulary, and the students studied in English medium. They are having better vocabulary. It can be hypothesis. English medium students have better vocabulary than Tamil medium, rural medium students. So here the dependent variable is vocabulary. Independent variable is medium of study, because this variable is getting influenced by the other variable. So in that way, you have to use the different variable, because I restrict myself within only the parents' education, medium of study, and gender means I'll have only three independent variable, one dependent variable. In case I want to study about the his mental IQ, then I want to study about the height. I frame a hypothesis. Tall students have better vocabulary, short student has less vocabulary. Assume that, just for a namesake. Then I need to know the height of the student. Then I need to correlate with the vocabulary stock and their height. Then I'll finally come to a conclusion which affects the another one. In that way it happens. So you cannot fix this is the variable, that is the variable. You need to decide based on the objective of your research, how many parameters you want to include. Based on that, you may add more variables or you will have less variable. In general, independent variable will be many, dependent variable will be only one. Rare cases, it may be two. You want to do too many things. See, in another layman term, your research topic, that's what my topic is, vocabulary. That's a dependent variable. All other parameters are independent variable. So I may add more independent variables to check how these independent variables affect the dependent variable. So here you may be able to decide based on your objectives and plan. Then you can do the things. For instance, I have given the vocabulary example. And in case you want further example, just ask me, let me explain. Do you get my point?
Kind of, sir. Right. Sir, for
Okay.
example,
you tell your example, let me tell you. Tell your topic.
For example, my topic of research is an analytical study of detriments of green consumerism in context of sustainable eco-innovative products.
Okay. Consumption of green products.
Analytical study of detriments.
Okay. For example, detriments. What are the detriments you are going to study? How you are going to fix the detriments?
Based on the use of consumption of green products.
No.
Hello?
Yes. No. Have you fixed the detriments already, or you are going to fix? For example, there may be already fixed 5 things. You can take that idea from the previous papers, or you can plan. So here you don't have any idea, means only basic idea you will be able to get only through literature review. After that, how many things you are going to incorporate in your study based on the total, it will change. But that needs a detailed kind of analysis. But here, have you already selected any variable already?
No, I'm just doing my review of literature right now.
So then don't worry now. Very good. Don't worry now. Just you read the papers. Because if you have a clarity, when I ask you the question, what are the variables, you'll be able to answer me. Since you are a fresher, so you don't have a clarity, but once you read it, probably once you complete your base reading papers, maybe how many papers you have read so far?
Approximately 15, yeah.
When you complete 50 papers, 50, you will get a
15,
clarity.
15.
You should read 50 papers, then you will get a clarity. Then you will be able to get some fair idea. Probably you'll note
So
down
actually,
some
number
variable.
of times my guide has asked me like, what are the variables you are going to select in that? What are your independent and dependent variables? So I was a
That's
little bit
what.
confused.
Don't worry, don't worry. Just as of now, you read papers because you have just started. It's a fresh start
Mhm.
of the journey. Within
Sure.
15 papers, you'll not be able to understand. I'll give one more clue. When you
Mhm.
read your research papers,
Yes,
always
sir.
try to understand. They could have explained in the paper about the variables they have used. What is the independent, what is the dependent. In case if they have used hypothesis, you'll know definitely. So you note down those variable. Then just to do simple analysis, how are they analyzing? How they have? Why did they select that particular variables? Just to do a basic analysis, you will get some idea. But once you read more papers, the clarity will come automatically. The
Yes.
basic difference is independent and dependent. One will have the effect on the other. This is the
Yes.
base. Then
Mm.
later, based on your objective of the study, you have to what do you call plan the different variables.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. Somebody, I think somebody said hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, may I ask you a question on the
Please
same
go
topic?
ahead, Mr. Yes,
So,
Tara. Yes, Amit.
what is a variable in literary research?
Literary research, you don't use variable. Literary research, you don't use variable because it's a qualitative research, it's a thematic analysis. You use only theoretical framework to analyze the context. No variables applicable only in the quantitative research, not in qualitative. It's very rare. So, literature student, you don't use variable, you use only theory, the theoretical framework, textual analysis method, and other what you call the aesthetics, literary aesthetics things you'll use. Based on that tools only you will analyze.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
May I ask you one question, sir?
Yes, madam. Go ahead.
Actually, I am also pursuing my PhD in literature, sir.
Hmm.
And my question is most of the time for collecting the data, we are
Hmm.
only rely on the primary and secondary sources.
Hmm.
And we are not using any methods. We just use the analyze and collecting critical analysis method only. Is
Hmm.
there any options we can give more reliability to our collection of data, sir?
Yeah, that's what. Literature review during literature review section, I'll talk about that. And you need
Yes,
to
yes, sir. Yeah.
rely on a certain criticism as well as
Primary
theory.
and sec. Okay, okay,
Primary and secondary is perfectly correct. And when you
okay,
analyze also based on theoretical stand, you can analyze. See, you can take the Shobade, you can do a normal post-colonial reading, postmodern reading, critical reading, anything. See, normal critical reading, you based on your understanding, you try to say something. That is always not valid. You have to go with certain theoretical support, theoretical stand or a critical stand. Then you need to analyze. Then it has authenticity. Otherwise, in case who can do without any theory? Even we are in the post theory era, but post theory without theory, people only experts can do. But fresh researchers, it's very rare for them to have the idea beyond the theoretical stand. That's very
okay,
rare. So, if you are a fresh researcher, obviously you should rely on the theory, other in the postmodern, any stand. No, take even
okay,
existential idea, anything that when you give your topic, I'll give you an idea clearly. But one option for the analysis is only theory.
okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, we can wind up. We can meet on Monday. Tomorrow we'll not have questions. Tomorrow is going to be Sunday, so we'll meet on Monday. Yeah.
Uh, that's okay, sir. Monday will be.
Yes.
Uh,
That's
Monday, same time, sir?
same time. Same time. Yeah.
All right. Okay, fine. Fine. Thank you so much, sir, for today's session. And we'll be meeting on Monday sharp at 4 o'clock. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, everyone.